Alrighty, so you are looking to make a home purchase this year and you don't really know where to start. Maybe you're a first-time home buyer or maybe you've even done this before, but let's face it, things do change. Well, you've come to the right place because today we're gonna unpack what it's going to take you to get you to that finish line. And I'm not gonna give you this regular schmegular vanilla tips and tricks video. We're gonna go in deep today. If you're new to this channel, my name is Alice Prince and I am a real estate broker here in the GTA, primarily helping our clients buy and sell properties in York Region, Durham Region, and Toronto. And to be honest with you, I kind of feel like I'm new to this channel again because it's been a minute since I made my last video, but you know, there's absolutely no excuse. I'm back. I'm dedicated to keeping you updated with the real estate market and sharing all the insights. The tips and tricks I'm going to share with you today can be used in any market, but before I do that, please hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you'd like to schedule a call to chat about the real estate market, you can use the first link in the description below to book a time that is convenient for you. Now, the first tip, and I'm sure that you've probably heard this a million trillion times, is to get pre-approved. Now, I promise you this video isn't going to be like those other ones that is obviously going to give you those obvious tips. We're going to go over exactly what to look out for and how you can stay advantageous when shopping for a home. Now, I've seen a lot of people start their home search without doing this one very important thing, and that's speaking to a mortgage broker. Whether it's someone at the bank or a mortgage specialist, this should be your first step. Getting a pre-approval and understanding what you can actually afford instead of just kind of, guessing based on what you're comfortable with is going to put you 10 steps ahead of your competition. Because I'm telling you right now, there's people out there, believe it or not, that are going to view at homes in person, falling in love with them and not knowing whether they can afford them or not. And by the time that they go through the entire process, the home ends up selling and they become disappointed. And I just don't want that to happen to you. Now, at the same time that you're getting pre-approved, you should be speaking with a realtor, someone who's going to take the time to sit down with you and go over exactly what we're going to go over today in today's video. Your realtor should be taking the time with you to walk you through exactly what's happening in the marketplace. That way everyone is on the same page, the expectations are crystal clear, and all your ducks are in a row. Because depending on what type of market you're in, whether that's a buyer's or a seller's market and who has the upper hand, you may need to make a decision very quickly. And I actually read this quote a while ago and it stuck with me ever since, and it says, "Preparation breeds success." I forget who wrote it, but it sort of stuck with me and has been this mantra ever since. Next up is knowing the numbers, and I don't mean knowing your numbers because we've already covered that. I mean understanding the data. For most real estate boards, on a monthly basis, they put out a report that's going over all the numbers, from everything from how many listings came onto the market in the first 30 days, to absorption rates, to average sale prices, to how fast homes are selling, and all the good stuff in between. So first, you're going to want to obviously pick out an area that you want to live and the property type. And after that, you can really dive into the micro markets and what that means. But what you're trying to figure out here is what type of market you're in. This is going to tell you if you're in a buyer's market, a balanced market, or a seller's market. And this is important because it will ultimately tell you how fast homes are selling, otherwise known as absorption rate, and who has the upper hand, and that way you can approach each negotiation as needed. Now, to find out this number, you're going to want to take the active listings and divide it by the number of sales in that given month. And if that number equals to anything below 3, then you're in a seller's market where sellers typically have the upper hand, where it's common to see things like offer dates on properties and home values rise, simply because there isn't enough inventory to meet the demand. Alternatively, if that number equals to anything between 4 to 6 months, then you're considered to be in a balanced market where there's equal opportunity between buyers and sellers and prices typically stabilize. Now, if that number equals to anything above 6 months, then it's considered to be a buyer's market where we would typically see home value prices drop because there's less buyers in the marketplace and home sellers are having to compete against each other, usually resulting in lowering prices. Next up is knowing the difference between list price and sale price, meaning what are homes being listed at versus what they're being sold for. Now, the market has changed from that once hot, spicy seller's market, and some buyers are still getting frustrated because they're seeing homes being listed at one price and selling between 5 to 10% higher. And that's because many parts in the GTA are still considered to be fundamentally to be in a seller's market where there's just not enough inventory to meet the demand of buyers. Now, I have this conversation a lot with people who are eyeing the market, and that initial list price, especially in a seller's market, is usually a marketing price, meaning it's a strategy that's commonly found in a seller's market where homeowners will underlist the home, hold an offer date, and really, truthfully, the home was never worth that low price to begin with. So if you're reading the market report and the stats say sale to new listing is 105%, that means that homes in that area are selling for 5% more. And as a buyer, you should be prepared for competition. By the way, just because the stat says that homes are selling for 5% more, whatever it is, does not necessarily mean that that home is selling more than it's worth. It just means that the home seller is taking a different approach because they know that buyers have less homes to choose from at that moment in time, and they want want to create a little bit of competition by setting that lower price than they expected, allowing people to place their bids to create competition and to get another sold price instead of just listing at what their neighbor sold for. Hate it or love it, guys. I get it. This is just the way our real estate cookie crumbles here in the GTA. Buyers are annoyed by it, but when they turn into sellers, they're going to find the strategy beneficial to them, just depending on kind of what side of the fence that you're on. So another thing that you're going to want to keep your eye on when looking to make a purchase these days is days on market. This is important because generally speaking, buyers are often getting alerted the second a property hits the market, and it usually has 100 eyeballs on it. For a market where homes are selling pretty quickly, between 7 to 10 days, look for properties that are sitting on the market for a little bit longer, because this is usually where you can uncover an opportunity. Maybe a home needs a little bit of a boost that you're willing to take on, like a sprucing up the curb appeal or a fresh coat of paint, or maybe just a new countertop in the kitchen, or maybe you're going to benefit from the agent's lack of quality photos where the home appears dark because the curtains are closed, but when you actually go to the property and open those curtains, you realize that there's loads of natural light. Now, that's not to say that something is wrong with the property or the house. These properties usually are not marketed properly or overpriced, otherwise they would have sold already. So I would compile a list of all the homes that are sitting on the market longer than the average days on market and check them out, because you never know where you can uncover an opportunity or a deal. So now that we have gotten some of the preliminary stuff out of the way, the next thing that you're gonna wanna be aware of is what happens when you find the one. So, okay, you've decided that you wanna make an offer, whether you're in competition with another buyer for the same house or if you're the only one at the table. But you want to make your offer strong, here's what you need to know. Now, to make your offer stand out, it's not uncommon to make a firm offer, meaning no conditions, but that does not mean, and I stress this, I can't stress this enough, that does not mean that you go into this blindly. You want to do your homework ahead of time. I've seen many times where buyers will waive their conditions and the right to a home inspection just to win the home, and I wouldn't advise that. Remember the saying, preparation breeds success? This is where you're going to want to be prepared to do your homework ahead of time instead of after, to ensure that you're still staying protected and making a good decision. So that means that you do the home inspection ahead of time or conduct your own, ensure that your financing is in place, send that MLS listing to that mortgage broker to get the green light, and if you're purchasing a property that has a maintenance fee or something called a pothole fee, that you are getting the status certificate reviewed by the lawyer ahead of time. 99% of the time, if you're in a competitive scenario, the seller is taking that firm offer, especially if the prices are very close. Now, in addition to that, having the deposit ready and available on hand is worth something when submitting an offer. So typically the deposit would be due within 24 hours of an accepted offer, but having this done beforehand, you're showing the seller, hey, I have all the drafted funds, they're here available whenever you're ready, and you sign that dotted line. So that way they don't have to wait till the next day. It's super paramount, and it gives the seller reassurance that you are serious. Now, last but not least, make sure you have a realtor who's going to bat for you. Having your realtor connect with the listing agent and build that rapport is super important. Instead of just sending them the offer in, we start the conversation with the other side well before to ask certain questions to help uncover what's important to that seller, so that way you can use it as leverage. Because when there are multiple offers on the table, or even if it's just between you and the seller, it's important to convince the other side that your offer should be the winning offer. So telling the listing agent a little bit of an intro about you will give life to that piece of paper, and this business is more about relationships than anything. So there you have it. This is my little spiel on how you can jumpstart on your home purchase, and if you want to book a time to see how we can help you get to your goal, never hesitate to reach out. Use the first link in the description below to book a time that is convenient for you. Ciao for now, and we'll catch you on the next one.